You know what it was? When
What?
you first said
What?
syncing, that's literally what my microphone was doing. It was syncing. Oh my
It's such a
God.
struggle. It's such a struggle, this whole thing.
So, how are you?
I'm good. Why don't you? How about yourself? How are you? First of all,
Um, well, after that first recording,
trying to do better.
I'm a little nervous right now.
I know. Our Book of Boba Fett episode 6 review completely got deleted, but I had to like restart it in post, which sucked. But yeah, we haven't did a Peacemaker review in a week. A lot of shit was going down, a lot of busy lives. So we got episode 5 at least.
Yeah, how are you liking this series? I think I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, it's getting better. It's not like something that's like too substantial to the DCEU, but I think that's fine. I think that's when like DCEU shines the most. Is like when it's not adding too much to its own universe, except when you do something like the Flash. Like we need some more build up to that. But overall, yeah, it's like so funny. It's really like a character breakdown type of show, kind of like Loki, except Loki adds a lot to its own universe. What do you think about the show?
Yeah, I mean it has its own style from Marvel because I said this in the last episode. It's a lot more mature, especially this show. It's like way mature. It's like definitely like fits HBO Max so well.
Yeah.
But I think that added level, and I think it was so appropriate that they brought James Gunn because it's like he just adds like such a good level of like humor and like playfulness to these very like dark, serious characters. And I think that too is where DC like shines a lot. They take like really like dark moments in DC and they just make it like, you know, fun for everybody, right? But it's so funny because like this show is like really what's keeping DC alive at the moment, other than like the Batman, which we're gonna talk about down the road. I'm so excited. I hope we get tickets and not end up like Spider-Man No Way Home.
That is gonna end up exactly like Spider-Man No Way Home, but maybe a little bit less worse. Like instead of an hour wait, it's gonna be like 59 minutes instead of
I'm
60.
telling you, Akram, we just apply now to AMC in Chamonix.
Yeah, I know. I have
That's
to.
the only
dude,
way.
It's so hard. Like the best way to get tickets is go to your local theater or the theater you prefer and like really pre-order in a box office like machine because there's no like it's stable connection, right? It's real time, so you're actually doing it. When it's online, it's like it's the worst. That's what I did with I think I did that with Endgame. I had to like rush in the morning just to pre-order tickets because otherwise I would have sat like in the hallway. So
Well, you heard it here, folks. Get your tickets analog style.
yeah, man, it's such a shame that has to. We're de-evolving. The industry's always
The
de-evolving.
industry is de-evolving.
They do that shit on purpose. I think it's like to build. I swear to God, it's like one of those like little marketing like malicious things that they do like just to build hype and stuff. And everyone's saying, "Oh my God," you know.
You would think like AMC will like be on top of that shit, like for their servers, like because they know like how big these movies are gonna be. Like, why wouldn't you like have somebody like ready to like make sure the websites are working? You know?
Yeah, I really think it's just like on purpose. I don't know the minds of these people, but like it has to be because it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't. Fandango was crashing too. I mean, it has to do with the theaters, obviously. It must be because of the theaters. I don't know. With COVID cases and stuff like that, I thought that this movie for sure would end up at HBO Max. But now everything's kind of like returning. But what I heard with COVID now, like there's some research that they have to do to see why some people haven't got sick yet or something. It has to do with like DNA or something. And so like if they could find out the answers, they could probably find an overall cure for the different variants. So I'm like thinking, but that might take years. So I'm like still thinking, how is the industry gonna handle this? Especially AMC.
How is the industry evolving?
No, yeah, no. I always thought that AMC, what they should have done was they should have made their own streaming service, right? And they charge like, but it's cheaper. And there's some benefits, like for example, like HBO Max, when Suicide Squad came, they put behind the scenes. So for AMC, they do that same thing. Like they have behind the scenes, like exclusive interviews only with like the AMC crew, or whoever, right? Like stuff like that, you know, maybe a digital poster, some bullshit. I don't know, but like whatever, just to like get people to like watch it, unfortunately it's bad for like the people who actually work in the actual theaters, but like as a business,
That
that's
was my only gripe I was gonna say, because then if that sounds like an interesting idea, but then you're losing revenue for a lot of like location
yeah. Yep,
services, right?
that's true.
That's actually why Borders Books closed down a long time ago, and that's why Barnes and Noble did really well, because Borders Books at the time, online wasn't as huge as it is now. But Barnes and Noble actually invested a lot more in like location stores as opposed to like online media. But isn't it so funny? Like now it's like the reversal. Now like everything is online, and now locations like aren't doing so hot.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like why department stores are falling, honestly, because like everything now is like online shopping.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and soon it's gonna kind of be like Death Stranding. I always pictured like COVID gonna be like Death Stranding, where everyone has to be in bunkers and like things. Well, that's like people like that's the thing. Like we talked about this before. It's heartbreaking because like 900,000 people I think in this country has died. But speaking about it like in a business cold manner, a lot of people also made good money like through Etsy or like even just like streaming or different type of services. I think there's like a rise in Grubhub or something like that, because it's more dangerous to like go at a restaurant and you have to take off your mask. It's so stupid, like wear your mask while you're going in, but then take it off.
COVID numbers don't work on me, only money.
Yeah. That's Amazon, but
that's the world we live in now. But
yeah,
to stray away from less depressing
Gotis great.
motifs, guys, we also keep lookout because we're having a DC animated movie top 10 favorite. Is it top 10 or top 15?
Top 15. Yeah, top 15.
Yeah. Top 100.
No.
we go through every fucking like DC movie.
We'll do like bullet points like this, and that's it. we don't get
I like this
elaboration.
next.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep a lookout, guys. We have a great DC animated top 10 favorites episode coming out next week.
Yeah.
Or this coming week, I should say. But yeah, let's start the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. Hope you guys are having a nice weekend. Just trying to stay warm like our podcast. No technical difficulties today, thank God. But we are back with another Peacemaker review for episode 5. I believe it's called, was it Monkey Dory?
Yeah. Yep.
I love the titles for these names. They're
I know.
So creative. But yeah, so it was a great episode. Kind of felt like filler in my personal opinion, but there's some notable highlights that we're going to touch on. So Akram, why don't you give us the rundown what happened in this episode?
Well, hi everybody. Yeah, this episode definitely felt like filler. They have to actually go into like one of the installations where they ship the goo that everyone's wondering what it is, and I'm sure episode 6 will go more in depth. But yeah, and then we also get some more questions about what is Murn's intentions, and we see later on in the episode, and we'll talk about it. But the whole thing was fun because it was a nice action set piece set inside a warehouse, right? And I don't know if we're gonna really go into spoilers now, but some Monkey Dory stuff for sure happens, and perhaps that Monkey Dory character that we're speaking about is actually a nice Easter egg to DC Comics, at least. I don't know. It's kind of like a throwaway character. But yeah, and at the end, we finally get to see what Murn's intentions really are, or at least who he really is. So
yeah, we actually got a lot of more exposition on the butterflies and what they are. And then kind of like it opens up with they're having like a conference, and then Peacemaker just shits on Economo's slideshow. Like, you could have named anybody. Like, he just like mentioned to us. He's like, you could have pinned the Lunch Table Podcast.
That's about to be us. We're about to be canceled any moment. Mark my words. One of these cold openings are gonna like screw us.
Yeah, that was. I think John Cena improvised that whole scene. That's so funny. Like,
it seems like
just
it,
named
yeah.
like every fucking like actor in the world.
Right.
But we get some more information. So the butterflies are kind of like Starro in a way. They kind of like just like control minds, and they've been on this planet apparently for like a long time, and they've just invaded like a bunch of like politicians or like social influencers. So you can really like see like the scale at which they're dealing with. But yeah, so like you said, they have to locate this refinery where they get their food, which is like this weird like maple syrup shit. I don't know what the like. It's like Aunt Jemima's like maple
Right.
syrup or some shit.
Right.
But I love the warehouse scene. I thought it brought a lot of action to the show, and John Cena, like, he felt like the fucking Terminator, like, going in. What'd you think of it?
When you bring in a KSG shotgun, you're in for business. Just ask
You would
John
know.
Wick. Yeah, he was great here. I mean, Peacemaker did what he does best. And also the helmet was really cool too. That's kind of
Oh,
like
the
a plot
X-ray.
device. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool. Like a little plot device for later on an episode. I'm glad that we got to see more of like their powers. They're kind of like zombies in a way. It's I think James Gunn actually took his inspiration from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
There were some references like to that as well.
It actually reminded me of like the angels from Legion, especially
Yeah.
like when they hiss, they're like, ah!
Yeah.
Like, it's very scary.
That's our audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. That was a really action-packed episode. I liked it. Yeah, he was like so capable here. Yeah, but what did you think about that whole scene? And then the thing with Vigilante too, with the chainsaw. I'm mad he didn't get to use it, but somebody else
I
did.
know.
Though.
I really wanted Vigilante
Yeah.
to use that fucking chainsaw, but I guess John got his time to shine in this episode. So this episode like kind of like brought like because it was very like the opening was, they had that action scene, but then like at the end it kind of like warmed up, and it was kind of like a breakaway from episode 4 where Chris, I always mess up names, but Peacemaker is like, he's kind of like depressed because he's thinking about his brother. So now it's kind of like, he's back, he's kind of like he's getting like a lot closer to this team, especially like with Adebayo too, because I think like Adebayo, like they had kind of like had a heart to heart. But yeah, going back to the warehouse scene, we got a little sneak peek at a famous gorilla. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. It's not Gorilla Grodd, thankfully, because that gorilla got fucked up later on by some unlikely character.
Damn, he got it worse than Harambe.
Right, I know. Well, that was like, so the gorilla was like briefly referenced to in episode 4, I believe, in the news. Charlie. So apparently I think that this is actually Charlie the gorilla. He was like a character from like the early 50s, 40s, like in World War II. It's just a gorilla that like was intelligent and like was like a soldier. I mean, like one thing I'm not a fan of about DCEU films, or maybe just like when James Gunn did Suicide Squad, is like some characters are like kind of thrown away, even if this character doesn't really matter, so I'm not gonna like gripe over it that much. But like Calendar Man was kind of like a joke a little bit. Yeah, that, so the butterflies can take over animals. I find that very interesting.
And they can change their biology too, because the gorilla was like speaking. So I wonder if it's like, it's just interesting. It's like, do gorillas possess the vocal cords to talk, or is that just like the butterflies?
The vocal parasites, as a Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's so funny because like they add like little Easter eggs in the show. Like I think there was one scene where like Peacemaker has like this newspaper on his wall, and it says like Peacemaker like captured Kite Man, which is another Batman villain.
That was cool. Yeah.
There's actually another Easter egg too. Like for comic lore fans, they were naming, when they were doing the slideshow, they named one of the senators Alan Kuppenberg. That was actually a Marvel and a DC artist. So it's just little like throwbacks. But I think James Gunn really like puts his own like punk rock style on the show. Like you can definitely like, it takes a lot of like inspiration too from like Guardians. Like the way like he implements like music, because when they were in the truck after they finished their mission and they kill all the butterflies, they're kind of just having like this, I don't know, like this high school like hangout session. It was actually really cool. It was like funny because like we're all dancing and like, and even Harcourt, she's been like so cold and distant this whole show, but she's kind of like opening up more to like Peacemaker and like everybody else. So she even like takes like a little selfie in like a little group chat.
That was
the
nice.
11th Street kids. I think that was just a great moment. What did you think?
Yeah, that was a really nice moment. Like I said, the show's like really just delving into characterization and like really finding the souls in these characters. And sometimes you don't think like some like a character such as Peacemaker wouldn't be so rich in the depth of like his soul. And really, because in Suicide Squad, like his characterization at least didn't do like him justice, like showing that yeah, he's just really like a human being. But here we really see it in this show, and I think we also see Adebayo, and I just like the similarities between Peacemaker and Adebayo with their
Yes.
yeah, you know, and also Hardcore. I just like that now she's kind of like feeling more free. Obviously, she has some issues like daddy issues as well, that she mentioned like episode 3, I think. So I really thought this was sweet. Economos, yeah, so Economos killed the gorilla with the chainsaw. But even he had like a nice moment, right? That was his 15 minutes of fame. So I thought it was really sweet. I think the only one that's like really like, I think actually one of the characters is probably more sad than Peacemaker would be Vigilante, because he doesn't even realize how wrong he is, right? He just suppresses things, and we'll get more into that, I guess, in a future episode of Peacemaker. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I definitely think like Adebayo, she kind of like acts as like a foil to Chris, like in a way, because like, and we haven't even really touched on like her relationship with like her fiance, like how it's been like steadily like declining
Mm-hmm.
through each episode. So like we get to see like her struggle with that, like just trying to maintain, because like she, it's like it's interesting like when I mentioned the foil, because like they both have like shitty dads, right, or shitty parents I should say, because Peacemaker has his dad, and then Adebayo has Amanda Waller, but they're trying to like to not be like reflections of that. So and a Peacemaker doesn't want to be like seen as like this racist like supervillain, and then like Adebayo doesn't want to be like this cold, heartless like government agent that Amanda Waller is. So you can kind of see that, and that's like it's funny because like as Peacemaker is building this family, this close relationship, and he's building, because he really doesn't have like any like societal skills, because he's been like trapped in jail, and then Suicide Squad, he was just kind of like this cold, heartless killer. But it's funny because like as he's building his like, I guess you could say normalcy, Adebayo's just kind of like been like declining with her own relationships in a way. So I just think like they have like an interesting bond together. And we should mention too, like she planted the diary that Amanda Waller wanted her to. So what are your theories on it, what the diary might be?
I think that the diary might be like it could be one of two things. It could be something to disrespect Peacemaker to set him off in like a certain course, or it could be something to I don't know, plant some sort of evidence. It could be a lot of things. It could be like something, just as she said in I think, what was it, Batman v Superman or something like that, or Suicide Squad probably. Put it in a hole, throw away the hole. It's like one of those things where like it's something that she dig deep for, or it just could be something entirely, just to set the course off of like politics, like some type of like political scheme, or maybe just Peacemaker's the hangman. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the last one's actually the most accurate, because I feel like it's a contingency for Waller. Just if anything goes south with this mission, they can just kind of like pin everything on Peacemaker. And I think the diary might be like, I don't know, some incriminating evidence that they could use, so that just it doesn't trace back to Argus or Waller. But we'll just have to see in the next episode. And then more about Argus. Going into that, we saw Merns hire this one guy. I think he's called Locke.
Oh yeah.
So he kind of like planted him into the Evergreen Police Department, because he's trying to like, put the pin on Peacemaker's dad, which I
Right.
think is gonna end up horrible. But yeah, I think the detectives are really like getting like closer to the truth behind this. But what do you think about that?
It's very dangerous too for them. I feel like it's a whole conspiracy. It's a big mess because you have the
It's like
what.
Woodward and Bernstein, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you have the White Dragon Goonies. You also have the cops like meddling and like things they it's too dangerous for them to meddle in. The butterflies. It's very rich and like different things going on. There's a lot of like subplots and stuff like that, or just like sub like conflicts, and Yeah, that Locke, right? He's weird, man. So he is a butterfly, right? So he has to be, or is he like one of those? Because they've been around for so long, is he like, uh, kind of like a fan of the butterflies, in lack of better terms?
I have a feeling he's not a butterfly. I think he might have just been a close associate of Mern's, and then like the butterflies kind of just like have access to your memories. So he's kind of like using that information to his advantage, and maybe he's just like a close friend of Mern's. But
Okay,
he knows he's like a really good agent,
right,
um, that he can just like plant for like hide evidence and shit.
right.
It's really shaded like what they do like what in the background, like it's like very like conspiratorial.
They're squirrels, basically, in a way.
Basically, that's what they are. Secret invasion, right?
Right.
Yeah, but overall, I think. Oh, and then we have to talk about the last scene. With which is actually like that was the most shocking in my opinion. So Adebayo goes back, to their little I guess headquarters, and then she tries on Peacemaker's X-ray helmet, and then I as soon as she put on the helmet, I was like, fuck, she's gonna see a Mern's.
I thought
So
the
she
same
sees like the
thing.
X-ray, and that actually reminded me. I feel like James Gunn took inspiration from. There's this old movie called They Live, where like
Right.
this one guy puts on the X-ray glasses, and then he can like see like everybody that's like a robot. So I think that's where he took inspiration from, but that's just what it reminded me of. So she sees like the butterfly inside Mern's skull, and then he like chases her. He doesn't kill her, but he chases her down. So what do you think is gonna happen with that?
Yeah, that was that. I knew something was up with Mern. I always knew it. I mean, there were so many like hints, and I knew there was something up, and I kind of figured, like we talked about this before too. I figured like he was like doing something for Amanda Waller, or like it's some type of like strife within the butterfly. I'll say butterfly community, in lack of better words. I don't know, like a Reddit thread or whatever.
Right?
But yeah, like that was crazy. That was I liked how like they implant themselves inside the brain, kind of
You
like,
like that?
yeah, you like that. Well, it looks weird, right? I mean, well, at least we get to see. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with her. I think that I don't think he'll kill her, because I think she has too much of a pivotal role just because of that journal alone as well, and she also is. She can possibly be a really close friend for Peacemaker, and there's so much similarities. And I think like if he does something bad to her, like how will the rest of the team like go about that? How will they discover it? Will everybody else be in danger? What's the next course, right? So what do you think's gonna like really happen?
I don't think he's gonna kill her. I think she's too valuable of an asset for the team for her to. I think maybe they'll just reveal, what his intentions are as far as like going against the butterflies. Um, and yeah, it's also it's kind of like she has her own mission too, right? So I don't know like if like because they still don't know yet that she's Waller's daughter, right?
No, I think they do.
Okay, well, because I remember like she was recommended by Waller, but I don't think they know like that familiar relation.
I
I
don't
think
remember
that
last episode that well. That's why
I
I'm
think
like
that's
thinking.
I think they're purposely hiding that fact. I don't even think Waller really knows that Mern's is a butterfly. I feel like
Right.
that could be like because Mern's dropped a little information in that one episode. He was talking about like how he did like really bad shit. Um, but I feel like that butterfly that implanted itself, that might have been after, and then I feel like this is like a different Mern's entirely. Like this could be like a very like, and isn't it funny like that Mern's like only became like nicer like after he was like implanted with this butterfly. So it just like shows like really like semiotics in a way. Um, but yeah, I think next episode they're just gonna like hit hard on like the butterflies. The butterflies might even retaliate, and we might see more obviously of Peacemaker's dad and his relationship with his brother, like because we haven't like really like seen too much of it. We saw like a hint of it, but like what's going on with that? Like did Peacemaker's dad make them fight? Like did he make him kill his brother?
Right.
So we'll have to see. But overall, it was a fun episode. Can't wait for the next one. And then we only have how many episodes left? 2? Or
We have 8 episodes in total, so I think we're going to have we have 6, 7, 8, so 3.
okay. So yeah. So just stay tuned, guys, for our next review for episode 6. Thank you for joining us on episode 5 review. And if you haven't checked out our Book of Boba Fett reviews, they're also out now. We just did a great coverage on episode 6, I believe. So we only have one more episode left for Book of Boba Fett, and then only a few more for Peacemaker. And obviously our DC animated top 10 favorites. So keep an eye out for that. So make sure you like, subscribe, share this. We're on YouTube, Anchor, now Apple Podcasts. So we've got some coverage now for you guys. So just make sure to follow us and listen to our content. But until then, guys, thank you for having lunch with us.
See you guys.